What's good, YouTube? It's your host with the most, the real Taylor Nicole, back at it again with another podcast for y'all. A-Team, listen up, movie crew. If you don't know, now you're about to know. I have changed the name of the podcast. The podcast is now called Movies with Tay. It's no longer called Movie Break. If you're an OG, then you know that the show used to be called Movie Break. It's no longer called that. It's now called Movies with Tay. The pod has went underneath a little bit of reconstruction, just a little bit. Just because I feel like that name flows better. It kind of connects with me, movies with Tay, and I'm Tay, and you're talking movies with me. So why not? Also, the podcast is now going to be told in a 3 segment style podcast explanation, meaning I'm going to tell you this in segments. So, segment 1 is me introducing the film. Segment 2 is me telling you the film, and segment 3 is me concluding the film. And you'll know what segment we're in because right before I get to each segment, I'm going to let you know that, okay? So, I hope you guys are ready for today's episode. Buckle in. It's a good old Friday. Hope your Friday is going smooth. Hope it's lovely. I hope you had a great week. Let's start the weekend off right with a podcast with Tay. You dig me? Movies with Tay. Okay? So, segment 1, once again, introducing the film. So, this is episode 25. Episode 25 is about Dear Best Friend. This movie runs for about an hour and 39 minutes. It was released back in 2021. The director of this film is Deshaun Hardy. He's also the screenplay director and writer, not writer, but the screenplay director as well. The movie was produced by Miss Teresa Smallwood and Melissa Llewellyn Austin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. You can also catch this movie on Tubi, BET Plus, Pluto TV, YouTube TV, Sling TV, and Amazon Prime Video. Once again, you can catch this movie on Tubi, BET Plus, Pluto TV, YouTube TV, Sling TV, and Amazon Prime Video. Okay? There you go. Now, also in this film, we have some characters we need to list out for y'all. Once again, this is introducing the film. These characters, some of them have other characters that portrayed them. Okay, so starting out with the cast, we got Andre Fuller as Alex. We have Jeremy Minks as Jamie. We have Aisha Epperson as Dawn. We have Angela Love as Corey, and then we have Akiba Robinson as Michelle. Okay. Now, in this film, there are 3 main people who were portrayed by other characters because of of one of the characters reading the book. Um, the 3 characters that were portrayed by another actor was Vernon Davis as Derek. He portrayed Alex. Ashley Rios as Lisa. She portrayed Corey. And then Hope Blackstock as Kelly. She portrayed Dawn. The reason why that is important is because the main character Dawn read a book that had these people's names in the book, but during that time Dawn didn't know that these characters were about them. Okay. I'm gonna do my best to try to incorporate a little bit of what she read in the book into today's episode, but honestly, it's easier if you guys just go watch the movie to kind of understand why, to understand and see more about what happened in the book and how it correlates to the movie. Okay, so once again, that was introducing the film. Before we continue, I would like to pause the episode real quick, and I'm pausing it just to say thank you to everyone who has been viewing week to week, tuning in with your girl and connecting with your girl, and indulging in the conversation and indulging in these movies, whether you've seen them or you haven't seen them. Guys, you do not have to be afraid to comment. You don't have to be afraid to like or share. I won't bite. I open criticism. I open feedback. I open all honesty on these episodes. Today's episode was a blanket bucket hat computer type of day. So, get comfortable, get your blanket, get your popcorn, do what you got to do. Sooner or later, by the way, guys, sooner or later, I probably would get a Patreon going. And what I'll probably start doing is I'll probably still post the full episode on YouTube, but there'll probably be things that I will take out to shrink the episodes down and put them on a Patreon. And then you can go, catch a specific thing that I might have taken out on Patreon instead. But let's resume back into the episode and let's get it cracking. So, back to the episode, guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into segment 2, which is telling the movie or telling the film, however you want to do it. So the movie is about three main people, really: Don, Alex, and Corey. It's really the three main people this movie's really about. Michelle and Jamie are some minor characters in the film that kind of hold some key to some key things that happen in the film, but overall, the film is 100% about those three characters. But the movie opens up with Don having a nightmare about Corey's death. It opens up with Corey at work, and she has like a miscarriage, and that's a dream that Don is having about her, and she's hearing her screams and all that. And Dawn, wakes up to a phone call from her mother, and her mother's wishing her a happy birthday. And Dawn's like, Mama, I'm having these crazy dreams about Corey's death. And her mama's like, listen, baby, there's no time limit on death. There's no time limit on grieving death, should I say. It's perfectly natural to still feel that way. Like, there's no time limit on that. So you don't have to feel rushed, and you don't have to feel awkward for still worrying about and thinking about your best friend and being hurt and all that. So they have their conversation, and Don is married to Alex, and they share a son named Lennox. And a little backstory: Don is actually the surrogate of Lennox. Okay, she's Lennox's surrogate mother. Don was carrying a baby for Corey and Alex, but as I told you earlier, Alex died. I'm sorry, not Alex. Corey died. I'm sorry. So Alex and Don are raising Lennox, but crazy enough, Alex is Corey's Corey's boyfriend, but once again, Corey died. So I guess that's her widowed boyfriend. And Don married Alex. Crazy stuff, right? I'm put it this way, don't jump to conclusions just yet, because I know what you're thinking. Like, wait a minute. So the best friend married the other best friend's man when she died? I know what you're thinking. Don't think that just yet. Not just yet. Well, anyway, Alex surprises Don with a spa day, tells her have a good day. He's going to take Lennox to school, pick him up from school, and do all the stuff he needs to do with Lennox while she's gone on her birthday journey and enjoying her birthday. Well, after she has her spa, she ends up having lunch with her mother, and her mom are talking. Her mom gives her gifts, and one of the gifts she gave her was it was a grocery bag, but it had a birthday card and some essential oils in the bag. And she's like, cool. But before that, she went through her mama's purse and she found a taser in her mom's purse. And she told her mom, she's like, Mom, really, a taser? Her mom's like, you never know what you're going to need this for. And keep that in mind. And Don's like, okay, Mama, whatever. So Don's mama's man comes and crashes their lunch, and they're all talking, kikiing it up, and some lady bumps the mama's man. And when she bumped him, she dropped her shopping bags. And he's been a gentleman giving her bags back, but he accidentally gave Don's bag to her and her bag to Don, basically. And they're concluding lunch. Don's walking home. She's like, I'm gonna walk home. And as she's walking home, she's going through the bag, and she notices that her bag has been switched. But she's like, all right, whatever. She's gonna enjoy that birthday card and those essential oils, I guess. And she pulls the book out. She looks at the book, and the front of the book says "Dear Best Friend," and it's got like this picture of these two girls and like a painter, like she's painting the pictures, okay? And Don's like, what the hell? She's like, all right, whatever. She starts reading the book. Book starts getting good to her, and in the midst of her reading the book, she gets to a point in the book where discusses how the character Lisa and Derek were going through these relationship issues because Lisa had a miscarriage with her baby, and with a baby, and she lost it. Right when it got to that part, a kid had knocked the book out of Don's hand. So Dawn is so busy trying to get back to that part and pick back up where she left off that she don't even hear her husband Alex calling her name. She's so engulfed into this book she don't even realize that he's calling her and calling her and calling her and calling her. So now Dawn finally clicks and realizes that Alex has been calling her. He calls her over, they're talking. He tells her, like, I hope you had a good day and blah blah blah, and lets her know that Lennox is waiting on her to come put him down for a nap. But before she gets a chance to walk off, he does tell her, like, we we need to talk. I want to talk to you about something. And she's like, all right, cool, bet. So she goes in, she's, dealing with Lennox and everything. And as the night goes by, of course she ends up putting Lennox to bed. But while she's doing that, Alex is in the dining room on her computer being nosy. He all in her business. And he is in her, he's in her bank account information. He's all in there. He sees that she's got over $2 million in her checking account. So earlier that day, Alex had met up with his business partner, Jamie, about an investment building that they want to use to turn into a gym, spa, and a cigar lounge. Well, Alex don't really have the money, but he know that Don does, because Don is a painter, and her father is a famous painter, but she also picked up the gene from him, and she runs her own business, like an art business, where they buy and sell art pieces. And so he knows she's got the money, but there's another reason why he knows she got money too, but I ain't gonna take out that just yet. So he knows she's got the money. He's not, worried about, whether or not the money's there or not. He's just more concerned about if he's going to be able to get his hands on it. So he sees it's there. He's like, bet, I probably can convince her to give me a loan or invest into the business, should I say. Well, while he's being nosy in her business, there's some mail on the table. And he's going through the mail, to, looking through it and seeing what's in there. And he finds a letter from Michelle. Michelle is Corey's mother. Okay. Like I said, Corey died. And Michelle is Corey's mother. And Michelle is currently in jail. And Michelle's basically in jail for Corey's death, to say the least. That's what she's in jail for. I'm gonna just tell you up front. That's what she's in jail for. And Alex is reading the letter that she wrote to Don, because the letter isn't addressed to Alex, it's addressed to Don. And he's reading the letter, and he finds out in the letter that Michelle's up for parole, and she basically says that she's going to tell the truth, and this should set her free, and how you know she just praying for nothing but the best. He gets upset, crumbles the letter up, and rips up the evidence, if you will. But while he's doing that, he's getting up from the table, and Don walks in. And at this point, he sees her and like, hey, look, we still need to talk. So they're going to go, they sit down, they have a heart to heart conversation. And she basically tells him like, or no, I'm sorry, he basically tells her like, I'm tired of working for people. I'm tired of making everybody else rich. I want something of my own. I want to, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to invest into this building and, turn it into this gym, spa, cigar lounge type of spot. And she's like, that's all well and good. I'm proud of you for wanting to do that. But unfortunately, right now, we need to be financially responsible with the money that we have to support Lennox and make sure he has a future. And Alex ain't trying to hear that shit. Alex know you got $2 million and he won't in on it. The problem is Alex can't tell her that he know that she got $2 million, because if he tell her that, she gonna know he been being nosy. And he don't want to deal with that. So he like, you know what? Okay, you ain't got the money. Cool. That's what you want. That's the excuse you want to give. You don't have the money. But also too, she tells him too, like, let's just keep it a buck. I never planned on being a mother to Lennox. I was just supposed to be the surrogate mother for you and Corey, I did not anticipate on Corey dying. So I really did not anticipate on having to be physically or financially and emotionally responsible for Lennox. But now that I am, I'm going to do what Corey would wanted me to do, which is make sure that Lennox is taken care of and that we're responsible with money and he has a future. Alex ain't trying to hear that shit either. Alex want that bread. But basically she tells him that not right now. We're not going to worry about your investment plan at this moment. We need to be more focused on Lennox and his future. And he tells her pretty much, okay, you say not right now, that just means no. So just say no. So they have that conversation, the little heart to heart situation. And later the next day, a detective comes and visits Alex, and he, basically lets Alex know, I want you to refresh my memory on what you said happened the night that Corey died. Tell me what really went down. And Alex is telling this whole story about how he came home to find Michelle, which is Corey's mother, standing over Corey's body with some pills in her hand, and basically, that she took the life of her own daughter in cold blood, and that she was jealous, and she did it out of fits of rage, and all this other stuff is what he tells the detective. And then he also tells the detective that her mother should not be released out of prison because she's a monster. She doesn't need to be released out. She doesn't need to be let out. And the detective's like, cool, got it, cool. He leaves, right? Well, after he says that, later that night, they're both in the bed trying to go to sleep. Alex and Don, they're trying to go to bed. Well, Alex falls asleep, but Don can't. So, and really what it is Don been reading that book. Okay? That book got Don in a chokehold. So Don goes downstairs and she goes and she reads the book. She sits on the couch and she reads the book. But before she read that book, she already had felt like the book meant something to her. She just didn't know what. But as she's reading that book, or before she reads that book, she went into the kitchen to go get something at the refrigerator. And on the refrigerator, there was a picture of her and Corey. And she went and grabbed the book and compared that picture to the picture on the book. And she instantly started thinking, this book, why is this book connecting to me? Like, what's going on? And, she's like, okay, maybe I'm overthinking it, right? So, she ends up falling asleep reading the book, and Alex ends up waking her up the next morning. He's like, so you slept down here? She like, my bad, I was reading the book, I fell asleep, nothing personal, I just couldn't sleep upstairs, so I thought this would help me. And it did. He ain't trying to hear that shit either. So he tell her like, well, while you down here sleeping, you're late on getting our son ready for school, but don't worry about it, I did it anyway. Like, okay, you his daddy, what's the big deal? What is the big deal about you, getting your son ready? So, at this point, their marriage, you can tell, is starting to have their marriage is starting to have like this little rocky moment, because now he's upset. You slept downstairs. You also took your wedding ring off, because that's another thing. And then you overslept and forgot to get up and get our son ready for school. So now he in his feelings, and got a little attitude, got a little altitude. And the night before she fell asleep, when she was reading the book, in the book, the character Derek and Lisa are having relationship issues, right? And Lisa's mother can't stand Derek, and Derek can't stand her mama. It's like a jealousy relationship between the two of them. Like, she can't stand him because she feel like he ain't no good, and then he can't stand her because she feel like she's overbearing, right? And there's that, right? Well, when Alex confronted her about her oversleeping, her sleeping downstairs, and then also about the ring, she felt guilty. She felt a bit of guiltiness. in her, and she, she didn't know what else to say or what else to do. But he's like, whatever. He got an attitude. He walked. While they're going through their little spout, if you will, um, Dawn starts feeling sick. And she said she had been feeling sick days prior, but she just couldn't put her finger on it. So to Dawn, she don't know if it's grief, if it's stress, if it's, what it is. She just feels sick and she can't figure out why. And, she tells her mama that, like, I've been feeling sick. I don't know what's wrong. Her mom's like, okay, maybe we just need to get checked out, or maybe we just need some rest or whatever. And Dawn's like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I just need a little rest. Okay. So while she's at home, Alex goes and meets up with his business partner, Jamie. And really, they're not really even business partners. Jamie is blackmailing Alex for the investment money for this business because he knows a secret about Alex that he feel like don't nobody else know but just him. So he tells Jamie tells Alex that either you get this money or I'ma start snitching. Which one? What do you want me to do? You want me to snitch on you and start telling you what I know? You want me to expose you? Or do you want to go ahead and get this money? So Alex is like, yo, chill, bro. I'm going to get the bread. Relax. I'm going to get it. Well, while he's out doing his thug thizzle, Dawn, I want to call it Corey so bad. Dawn is at home setting up her little painting, paint, if you will, outside because she's getting ready to start painting. Like I said, she paints just like her father. And while Dawn is painting, she ends up having like this breakdown moment after she completes her painting about Corey. And, she starts crying while she's holding Corey's picture, and she starts explaining it to the picture like, I never wanted to take your place. I never wanted to live this life. I always imagined this was your life you were going to live. Like, this is not what I wanted, and please forgive me. Basically, this is not what I intended on happening. And the only way I feel like I can really still be a part of Lennox's life is if I married your ex and stay with him to help raise your son. Like, this is the only way I feel like I still have a piece of you and be able to be in his life. And after she has that moment, she goes back to reading the book. Well, while Dawn is reading this book, she starts telling her mother, she has a phone conversation with her mother, she's telling her mama, like, this book resonates with me for some reason. Like, I can feel this connection with this book, Mom, for some reason. Her mom was like, girl, you're overthinking it. Stop it. That book don't connect to you whatsoever. It's just a book. And she's like, no, Mama, this book connects to me for some reason. So she brushes her mom off, goes back to reading the book. Well, time has lapsed so far that Dawn has been indulging this book for so long. Her son, she forgot to get her son from school. So Alex comes home and is upset because you left our son at school. You were supposed to pick him up today, and you forgot because you all into this book. And he goes off. He's like, you all into this book. You didn't forgot about picking our son up from school. You like, what's going on with you? What's really going on? And she's like, oh my God, my bad. I really truly forgot. And he's like, yeah, because of this book. And he snatched the book from her. She's like, give me my book back. Like having a T.I. and Lauren London moment. Give me my necklace back. But so they end up having that little moment, and he basically tell her, like, you slipping on your motherly duties, slipping on your wifely duties, like you just not you just so caught up in this book, you forgot you got a whole real world outside of this book. Like, get a book a break and be a mother, be a wife, be a human. And she snatches the book back, and she continues to read the book. And as she reads the book, the character that's supposed to be portraying her, Kelly, she don't know this though, but Kelly is, comes to visit Lisa after the miscarriage situation. And they're in there talking. Well, not right after, but it's been some time. And they're talking, having girl talking. While they're talking, Derek, who's portraying Alex, is listening. He's eavesdropping on their conversation, and he hears Lisa and them talking about trust fund money and all this other stuff. So he finds a piece of paper about trust fund money, and it says how much she would get for just herself, and then how much she would get if she had a child. And he sees it, and he's like, oh, okay, bet. So we can come into some money if she has a baby. Cool. So in the book, um, Derek starts being nice to Lisa, similar to how Alex starts to be towards Don after he was an asshole to her, starts being nice to her, right? And in the book, Derek comes to Lisa and, confronts her about the life insurance policy, but also tells her that he thinks that maybe they should get a surrogate to, you know, help with the process of them having a baby. He just doesn't want to adopt a child, but maybe we can get a surrogate to help us have a kid. So she's kind of at first skeptical of it, and she's like, "Well, who? That's expensive. Like, who are we going to get to do that?" And he's like, "We can probably get it for free," and mentioned Kelly, the friend. And same thing with Alex, Corey, and Don. Don was the surrogate mother for Corey and Alex, right? And Dawn continues to read this book, and the more she reads it, the more it's resonating with her, right? Um, Lisa had made Kelly the beneficiary in the book that Dawn's reading. Lisa had made Kelly the beneficiary of her insurance policy. The secondary, though, the primary was Lisa's mother, right? Well, in the book, like I said, it mentions that Derek asks Lisa to ask Kelly to be the surrogate, and at that point, Dawn starts to sit back and go, "Wait a minute, this really does seem familiar because this has happened before," and she just it's still not clicking to her. Nothing's clicking to her. She's just like, "This happened before though, but when and where and how?" When the surrogate part comes up, like I said, Dawn starts to really start feeling some type of way. Something just ain't adding up to her. Um, Dawn was having like this flashback moment when she thought about the nickname they used to call each other, Peanut Butter and Jelly. And I believe it was something in the book that referenced that made her click again. Like, damn, this book really might be about me. After Dawn and Alex had kind of had a little argument, Dawn had stayed outside, but Alex had walked off and went in. And he got on the phone and he tells um whoever he's on the phone with he needs more pills. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is you on that stuff? What you need pills for? But that's the conversation they have. You need more pills, right? At this point, um, you start putting the pieces to the puzzle together. If you do. You start putting the pieces to the puzzle together. Um, Dawn starts going through Alex's stuff that was in the garage because she's trying to figure out where this book came from. Because the book said it was published by Books and Books. So she ends up finding a card from Books and Books. And she tries to call the number. It's not going through. She's not getting anywhere. So all the leads she keeps trying to follow up on are falling through, basically. She really was just trying to figure out who really wrote the book. Because I think the name of the author was Caitlin something. But she just felt like that was an A-list name. So she was trying to figure out like who really wrote the book and, trying to get as much information as she could. Well, um, Alex the next day starts being real nice to Dawn. He apologizes. He lets her know he's been a butthole and kind of goes, the whole 10 yards of trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. And Dawn accepts his apology, but she's also still on the fence about him because of his behavior. Um, Alex also tells Dawn like he think that them being together is exactly what Corey would have wanted. That's the only way to ensure that Lennox was going to get the right, parenting, the right love. Like he tries to play on her heartstrings and let her know like this is what Corey would have wanted. Corey would have wanted us to be together for the sake of Lennox, So wherever the case may be. We finally, after that conversation, we finally get a flashback about what was going on between Alex and Corey. But it was told through a flashback of the book. Because Dawn kept reading the book. And in the book, Derek was drugging Lisa with some medication, some type of drugs. He was drugging her with them. We later find out it was oxycodone is what he was drugging her with, but he was drugging her with it. And Dawn is reading this like what the freak, man? This book is crazy. And the more she reads it, the more the book becomes clear, and the more she's starting to be able to start piecing the puzzles together. But she has to find more puzzles to complete the piece to make sure that she, before she goes accusing, that she's right in what she's thinking. Well, in the book, Lisa's mother takes her to a doctor, and the doctor tells her about the oxycodone being in her system. And at that point, the character Lisa puts two and two together that she was drugged. And she tried to explain to her mama like, no, Derek is drugging me. And her mom is like, if you're addicted to drugs, just let me know. I'll help you through it and blah blah blah. And she's like, no, mama, like this is not the case. Like I'm telling you, her mama didn't want to believe her. So, Dawn had left the house. She had lied and told Alex she needed to go meet with a client, but she really was telling him that because she wanted to go read more of that book. But while she was going reading the book, her mama popped up at the house, and she had lied and said her mama told her about this client she was supposed to go meet and all this other bullshit, but it was a lie. And Dawn's mama popped up, and Alex was confused because he's like, your daughter just said that she was going to go meet with a client that you knew about. What are you doing here, basically? And she tells her like, Don's mother tells him like, oh, I thought she would be back by now. I didn't know she would still be out. And she's like, well, I'll just try to call her and whatever. She ends up calling Don and telling Don like, what the hell you got going on? Because I didn't came to the house looking for you, and now this man is acting all suspicious and weird and shit. And she's like, oh my God, why did you come to the house looking for me? Blah, 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 blah. So they had a little conversation. She's still on this book being connected to her. And her mama like, if you don't let this shit go, that book is not connected to you. Let it go. And Don's like, nah, mama, this book is connected to me. Somehow, some way, this book is connected to me. Regardless if you want to believe it, mama, this book is connected to me. And fast forward a little bit of the movie, Don eventually ends up finding one of the letters that, or not finding, but end up getting one of the letters that Michelle had wrote to her, and she got a chance to read it, and she found out about her being, she's about to be eligible for parole. She's about to go before the parole hearing, and how she hopes that when she tells the truth, it sets her free. She gets to read all of that, and she finds out that Michelle had been writing her letters for the longest, and she ends up putting two and two together that Alex has been hiding and getting rid of the letters. Like, because she's like, if this woman been writing me, where are the letters been going? So she's putting two and two together. She also finds out that what she was feeling was right. That Alex was really Derek in that book, and that Alex had been drugging Corey all this time. So now she's like, this motherfucker was drugging her. He's probably drugging me. So I think she eventually found some crushed up pills that he had put into like a little can looking thing, and she tossed them out, got rid of them. And she was hiding the book from him and everything, so he wouldn't find the book that she was reading. Like, she didn't want him to know that she was kind of on to him. She was trying to keep it discreet. When Don tried to go sneak and go see Michelle, but was unsuccessful because she's not on Michelle's visitor list. But when she ended up coming back home, she came home to her mama's man, and Alex in the living room chit-chatting and talking it up. Alex invited him over for dinner, right? So she's a little upset because he just pounced her people on him, but that ain't why she was mad. She was mad because she couldn't get in touch with Michelle like she wanted to ask questions she felt like she needed to ask. Well, Don's mama comes upstairs while Don's in there trying to get freshed up or whatever, and she tells her like, you got a good man, you need to get over yourself, blah blah blah. And then when she leaves out, here comes Alex. Her and Alex have a conversation back and forth, and Jamie, who Alex been having a little issue with, pops up because he's been trying to get Alex to get this money so they can get this business going. And he pops up to the crib. And Don's mama invites him to stay for dinner. I hate when people do that. It's not your house. You don't invite people to stay over for dinner when it's not even your house. And it's not even your dinner you're hosting. But she invites him to stay over. But before she did that, Jamie had threatened Alex again and told him, if you don't get this money, I'm going to start singing like a canary. But by this time, Don had put two and two together that the Derek was about Alex. She had already put two and two together. She just needed confirmation. Well, while they're all sitting down having dinner, Jamie says to Alex, hey man, don't you remember our little drinking names that we used to use when we want to pretend like we were somebody else, our drink names? Don't you remember I was Justin and you was Derek? And as soon as he said that, Don was like, you motherfucker. You did do that shit. So now she's like, I don't know if you killed Corey or not, but I know you was drugging her. Like, I know now I have proof that you was drugging her. And she excused herself from the table. She's upset. Alex peeps game. Like, he said the same thing. He thinking to himself, you motherfucker. You just snitched on me. You dry snitching. So Alex, like, since you dry snitching, I got something for that ass. Oh, like I said, him saying those names, Justin and Derek, 100% confirmed to her that that book was 100% about them, all of them. That 100% confirmed it for her. Well, Jamie running his mouth the way he did cost him his life. This man did not use his thinking cap at all. It cost him his life. And I'm not going to say exactly what Alex did to Jamie, but just know he did something to Jamie that cost Jamie his life. And he was going through Jamie's stuff. And when he was going through Jamie's stuff, he found the same book that Don was reading. He found it in Jamie's car. And he read a little bit of the book and he was instantly 100% aware that Jamie was, I'm assuming not Jamie, but that Don was 100% aware that Alex did what he did. He didn't know how far in the book she had gotten, but he had known, he knew that she known what was going on at this point. And he's like, great, freaking great. So Alex eventually went home to try to go search for he went home to try to search for Don's copy of the book to get rid of it. But see, Don hid the book in Lennox's toy bin. So when he got home to look for it, he eventually came downstairs and he seen Lennox playing with the book. So he knew she hid it. So that confirmed to him that she knew what was going on. And he's like, oh, great. Wonderful. Well, when she finished the book, she was 100% sure that Corey was the one who wrote that book. She wrote the book so she could tell her what was going on, basically, is why Corey wrote the book. Well, what 100% did it for Don was when Don read how Corey or how Lisa and Kelly met. In the book, it talks about Lisa and Kelly meeting at school and bonding over starting their cycles at the same time, and one kid giving another kid a pad. That sealed the deal. She knew. She was like, "Yep, I've been right all this time. This is 100% right." Well, Don eventually goes to Books and Books and runs into the owner, Miss Pamela Turner, and Miss Pamela Turner, and like she's like, "Oh, you the best friend." Bet. So Corey gave Miss Turner the original manuscript because she knew eventually Don would come for it. Because she kind of had a feeling she was going to die. Corey did. And Don is given the original manuscript by Miss Pamela. Miss Pamela told her that Corey told her that you would know what to do with this and you would know where to find the key to what she needs you to get a hold to. So Don's like, okay, I got you. So she takes the book and she's reading the manuscript and she finds out that there's a hidden gem for her that she needs to go find. Well, Dawn ends up going to I think it's her father's house, maybe, but she ends up going to a house, a nice house, by the way, and goes to her old bedroom and she finds the clue that Corey hid. But see, Alex had been following Dawn this entire time, but Dawn just didn't pay attention enough to realize that he had been following her. See, Alex had their mother come and watch Lennox so he can track her every move because he knew she was up to something. Well, um, Alex had set up this play to make it look like Don was a drug addict, the same way he did Corey. Because you find out that Alex blackmailed, or not even blackmailed, I'm sorry, that Alex framed Corey's mother, Michelle, for Corey's death. What he did was, in the video that Don ended up watching, you end up finding out that Alex strangled Corey to death and then shoved a bunch of pills down her throat to make it look like she OD'd on the pills. And he texted Corey's mother from her phone that she needed her and it was an emergency basically. And the only person who knew about what happened was Jamie. This is why Jamie kept talking about exposing him and threatening him with it, because they weren't partners. Jamie was blackmailing Alex for the money that he knew that Lennox was gonna help him get. See, like I said earlier, Corey was already granted $1 million for an insurance policy through trust. If she had a child, she would get a $2 million insurance. She would get $2 million is what she would get from the life insurance policy, and he knew that. That's why he killed Corey so that they can get so he thought he would be able to get his hands on the money. I don't think he anticipated on Don actually marrying him and staying with him, or even if he did, he didn't anticipate on her holding on to the money and not letting him get a piece of it. But anyway, um, she watched the video, found out what really was going on, and at this point, the lights cut off in the house, so she know Alex is there. She runs downstairs, downloads the video to a cloud, if you will, texts her mom and says, "Track my location." And she ends up running into Alex outside. He ends up kidnapping her and taking her to this house. The house he takes her to, I don't know whose it is, but he took her to a house, and um, they're in there talking. And he pretty much tell her, all of what I'm doing is because I wanted that money. All you had to do was play ball and get in line, but you didn't want to get in line, so now you got to pay. And this letter is gonna make it look like you were obsessed with me. You were, and that you felt guilty for taking your best friend's man and you took your own life. That's what he said the letter was gonna read like. So she's like, "That's not true," and he's like, "Well, that's what this letter's gonna say." So they hear a knock or some type of noise, and he goes to go check it out. Comes back upstairs, and as he sits back down to talk to her, her mom smacks him over the head the with a bat. She thought she knocked him out. She's untying Dawn to get her feet free and gets her hand and gets her free, but her hands are still tied up. He ends up tackling Dawn's mama down, and Dawn has a knife in her hand, and he tells her, "Ooh, this is deja vu," because it's the same thing that happened between him and Corey. Well, Dawn's like, "Okay, yeah, this might be deja vu, but I'm not gonna die. You are this time," and she stabs him. He starts choking her after she stabbed him. Her mom takes the taser that she told her earlier, you never know when it comes in handy, she tased him. He falls out the window. Boof. So that's how it ends. Michelle gets released from prison because they find out that she was wrongfully in prison for her daughter's death. They find out that Alex was really behind her death and he's dead. Case closed, right? So that's that. Oh, and Michelle also gets to meet her grandson Lennox. So let's jump into to my notes and kind of go over some things about my notes that I noticed. My notes. One thing I noticed is that from the beginning, Alex didn't seem legit. He seemed like something was wrong with him from the beginning. I don't know why anybody trusted him. Jamie didn't use his big boy brain and didn't think twice that if he was willing to kill his girlfriend and his wife for some money, You should have known he'd be willing to kill you for any reason. So threatening him without protecting yourself was stupid. 100% stupid. Two, Corey should have went to the hospital a long time ago when she first started feeling sick. Even if she thought it was about depression from losing her baby, she should have went to the hospital from the beginning. She also should have never confronted Alex when she found out that he was drugging her. She should have just gave it to the police. She should have gave the evidence to the police and let them deal with it. Confronting him cost her her life, cost her mama her freedom for the time being, and almost cost her best friend her life. Wasn't that to me was not smart at all. Another thing, um, when she wrote in that letter that the only reason why she didn't speak up and say anything to Don about what was going on is because she assumed Don and Alex had fell in love because the way Alex looked at her while she was pregnant with the baby and the way he treated her and was, connecting with her, she just was jealous. So she didn't want to like the jealous girlfriend. So she just didn't say anything, basically. She should have spoke up and said something, to be completely honest. She should have spoke up and said something instead of keeping it in. But that's why she said she didn't say anything. Um, I just didn't understand why Corey wrote the book but didn't speak up. You wrote a book but didn't speak up. And then two, you knew it was a strong possibility something would happen to you. So I don't get why she didn't give her mama the evidence too. That's another thing that bothered me a little bit. Why didn't you give your mama the evidence too, knowing that he don't like your mama and he might try to frame your mama for this? So I didn't understand why she didn't give her mama the tools to keep her out of jail. But I digress. Um, and I wonder how long her mama must have been in jail for a while because she went to jail way before Lennox was born. So her mama was in jail for a while, like at least 2 to 3 years. Her mom was in jail, wrongfully in jail. Um, I get that Dawn wanted to be a part of Lennox's life because she like that's the only way she'd have a connection to Corey still. But I didn't understand the purpose of marrying him. I really don't. I don't get why you married him. To me, you didn't have to marry him. You could have just set up an agreement between the two of y'all about him. I get that she probably married him because Alex probably made her feel like that's what Corey would have wanted, but I wouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. I'm not marrying you. You were my best friend's man. I'm not marrying you. It already was weird enough for me to carry your child, but you want me to marry you too? I'm not doing that. I definitely wouldn't have done that. No ma'am. No ham, no turkey. Um, I think it's crazy that Alex was really so crazy. He devised a plan to set up both women, to make them both look like drug addicts, to make them look like they were obsessed and crazy and everything else. That man was so far gone over some money. It was crazy to me. Crazy to me how he devised the plan. And the plan he devised was almost the exact replica of each for each female. Craziness. Craziness. Um, Corey's mama, crazy as hell. Ain't no way in hell you would have been able to set me up and frame me for my daughter's murder. There's no way. I would have fought in court till the days was long. You're not going to frame me for my daughter's murder. I don't care nothing about pills being in my bag. I don't care that I worked for no pharmacy. You're not going I know I didn't kill my baby. You're not going to frame me for that. And see, Don, to me, I don't know if maybe they didn't do a cross witness check on her, but I would have spoken for her mom and been like, there's no way her mother would have killed her. They were too close for that. And then on top of that, the mother should have brought up the fact that they went to the doctors about it. Why would I take my daughter to the doctor if I'm the one that's trying to, take her out? But ain't no way in hell he would have got me like that. You ain't framing me for my daughter's murder. Not happening, sir. No, sir. Um, Don's mama kind of pissed me off a little bit because when Don was trying to tell her that something was wrong with Alex and that something was off and that book was connected to them in some kind of way, she kept trying to make Don seem like she was crazy. And I didn't like that. That's your daughter. Take your daughter's word over anything, even if it sounds crazy. Until you can prove that she's crazy or that situation is crazy, take her word for it. Like, come on now. Um, as I said earlier, Corey should have gave the police the evidence that Alex was drugging her. But I feel like because she didn't want Alex to necessarily go to jail, she just wanted him out of her life. That's why she didn't get the police involved. But honestly, if the man was crazy enough to drug you with oxycodone, knowing that you could potentially overdose on that, and he didn't care, why would you want him around your child or even still remotely able to be in access of your life? No, you should have gave that information to the police. You should have reported him to the police and got him arrested right then and there. Because like I said earlier, you put your life on the line, your mother's freedom on the line, and then your best friend's life on the line. And unfortunately, you're the only one whose life was cut short behind. Well, not really. Jamie's was too. But you put everybody's life in a weird predicament by not just doing the right thing and getting the police involved. Um, she shouldn't have tried to confront him the way she did. See, in the movie, if you go watch the movie, it'll show you how she tried to confront him. The man crazy. You should have called the police and confronted him or something, or had somebody else there with you when you confronted him. Not confronting by yourself, where he can do anything to you like he did, and set it up to look like it was a overdose that your mother did out of all people. I digress. Those are my notes. That's some of the things that I noticed that kind of stood out. But yeah, in the end, that's how I feel. So let's jump right into segment 3, which is concluding the film. So we're gonna conclude the film by rating it. I give this an 8.9 out of 10. I feel like it was a good movie. The storyline was a new storyline that hasn't really never been told before. Um, the dialogue, the way the story was written, the usage of a story being told through a book, also being told through a regular film was a great way to captivate the crowd and bring the crowd in. So I'd have to say, yeah, 8.9 out of 10 is definitely a must have. It kind of reminded me of those stories where people are telling their real life story, but somebody else is acting out the story. That's kind of what it reminded me of basically. But yeah, 8.9 out of 10. Definitely will watch it again. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, sticking in with your girl, and keeping up with me, I guess. Um, Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, and share. I really would appreciate it. Let's try to hit those 100 subscribers by the end of this month, hopefully. Let's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Argue with your mama. Have a good day. It's been Tay with another movie review. Movies with Tay. See you later, movie crew. Peace out.